Hey guys, what's up? Nico again here. In this 3D Printed Profits episode, I have back with us Adrian. If you guys remember from a bunch of episodes ago, Adrian was our six-figure teacher and he teaches 3D printing. Um, and since then, I've followed Adrian's business very, very closely. I think since then, he started a Patreon. He started teaching um, design via Tinkercad. He was teaching kids how to do flexi toys. And so I wanted to do a Where Are They Now episode, just like with Bill, just to check in and see how things are going with them. And so welcome back to the show, Adrian.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So you look like you've been lifting, man.
I have been. I have been.
Yeah. Last time we talked, you weren't as yoked. You started powerlifting or what, bro?
I'm doing CrossFit,
Okay. All right. You look good,
and
man.
that kills me. Kills me. But I still go because my wife wants me to.
There you go. I mean, happy wife, happy life, right? Actually, it's happy house, happy spouse, happy house. It's not just the
All
wife.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
For
So,
anyone, right?
so let's get into it, man. So how are things going with you, dude?
You know, things are great. I mean, I still have the same job where I'm teaching 3D printing and coding and esports, and I mean, I'm getting paid to do that, so I can't really complain.
Dude, that's amazing. Esports, like so what games are you guys running?
Okay, so that's been an issue at our district. So right now, all we have is Super Smash Brothers,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we've been doing, and the kids are okay with it. But there are surrounding districts that have other more intense games that, for some reason, our district says, those are too violent or those are too much for our kids, and so we are trying to get, other games that involve a little more skill and teamwork. But we're not there yet, but we're trying to, and eventually, I'm sure we'll get a Splatoon or something else like that. Something not too controversial. Eventually,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's it's such a fine line. It's a sensitive juggle with video games, right?
yeah,
You go from Super Smash Bros to Mortal Kombat, like totally,
right,
you know what I mean?
right. And the
So
thing is, it's because a lot of our kids, since I'm middle school, most of the kids are under 13,
yeah,
and that's the major cutoff in terms of being able to create an account. But in high school, they do everything. They So middle school, they're like, no, no, here are the few things. But high school is like, no, no, we're gonna go all out on
yeah.
everything.
I mean, I get it, right? Like at what point do you draw the line in the sand? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I get where they're coming from, and I get where the kids are coming from. You just gotta find that balance. So 3D printing, man. So update us on what's new and what's going on with you.
All right. So the last time we talked, I had just finished ordering, and I received soon after some bamboo printers,
Hmm.
bamboo lab printers, and now my classroom has eight of those,
I'm sorry, how many?
eight,
Damn. Okay.
and they're amazing. They're just they work, and that's exactly what we want. Now I still have some enders. That way I can show the kids, like, look, this is how it all started, or not, it all started, but the ideas are there, the basic ideas. But now it's like, okay, we want to get these prints done. We don't have to worry about it. Let's just print them here. So that's been amazing, and the kids are totally into it, especially now that we have the AMS systems with it. They just love it.
So eight machines.
Uh-huh.
Um, did the I don't know if I don't remember talking about it, but if I asked you, did you guys ever expand to more than just that one school that you guys are in, or weren't you going to be like
Oh,
heading something like that?
so a high school teacher, someone in the district made an error and said, "Hey, your bamboo printer came in," and I'm like, no, it hasn't. So I said, "Well, go ahead and check on this." And they said, "Oh no, it was somebody at the high school that ordered one." And I'm like, "What? That's possible?" So I contacted the person at the high school. I said, "Hey, I heard you got a new printer. Do you need any help?" They said, "Absolutely. I have no idea what's going on here." I said, "I will help you." So um, I helped her get set up with her 3D printing club, And I donated some printers, my own personal ones over there, and said, look, if you need anything, you let me know. And then she's had questions about fundraising to, get more filament or doing whatever. So I've been trying to help her establish something over there because, I mean, it's high school and it's 3D
Mhm.
printing. It's like a perfect match for each other. And so that's what I've been doing over there, and still working with the district, trying to help other people at other schools master this. In fact, I just had somebody from another middle school come over and check it out. And they said, hey, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I have these two printers. I said, look, the printers you got, which are, I think they got a PS, was it a
P1S.
PS5? P1S, there you go, those. You got two of those. I'm like, dude, you open the box, you follow the steps, you're going to start printing within
Yeah,
15
P1S
minutes.
is like a 10-minute setup, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I said, just follow the steps, you'll be fine. And call me for anything. You're not going to be bothering me. Just call me because this is what I enjoy doing. And he's like, all right, cool. He left, and next day he got him set up, and now we're going to see what happens over there.
Nice, man. So
Yeah.
is this kind of like, so this is paid for by the district. Now, if someone wanted to do this, like an after school program, like those paid after school programs in like elementary school
Yeah.
or middle school, right? Would this be kind of like would this be a viable thing for them to do?
It is completely possible. In fact, our school district is always looking for businesses, local businesses, to come in and do after school activities. They are actively looking for people to do that. Now, the only drawback from the few people that I know that have tried is that they do require a certain amount of insurance, which is prohibitive for a lot of small businesses. They're like, yeah, I'd like to do it, but what they require of me is just, it's too much. It's more than I'm making in a couple of months. It's
For
like,
the
yeah, okay,
insurance?
well, for the insurance, apparently, if you have some equipment or if you're going to be dealing with kids, you need to have a certain amount of insurance to cover you in case you do something accidentally or someone gets hurt. You just need a certain amount of
No, I
insurance.
get that. I'm just trying to think what kind of insurance that would be. I'll probably research that.
I don't
Um,
know.
so yeah,
But here, last time we talked though, I needed to update this because this is brand new. So you had asked me last time, um, do you have to have a credential to do what I'm doing? And
yeah.
that changed.
No
There are
kidding.
now exceptions. Yeah. If you can prove that you've been in a certain industry that does not need a degree, and you've been in it for over 3 years and you have a certain amount of hours under your belt, you can apply for something called a CTE exception. CTE meaning career and technical education exception.
Okay.
And you can actually do it as a teacher, right? Not after school, not before school, but as a regular teacher. So that is one way to get in without the degree, but just with the experience.
Dude, that's awesome. So say
Yeah.
me, I've been 3D printing for 6 years. I can go to a school and say, hey, I can teach 3D printing.
It's not that simple, but you can
Okay,
go to a
okay.
district, you can go to a district office and say, hey, is there actually I know there is because it's a California state law or exception or rules within the educational system. Say, look, can I apply for a CTE exemption?
Dude, that's
And
awesome.
they'll check your background and they'll say, well, can you prove that you've been doing this? And if the answer is yes, you can go in and go ahead and start making what you're making and doing what you're doing.
Dude, that's awesome. That's so cool.
In
Man,
fact, last at the end of last year, this person from the district said, hey, Adrian, can you prove that you have experience with, they said digital creation and, just a bunch of things having to do with computers and websites and coding. And I'm like, yes, I've been doing this for 16 years in one way or another. What do you need? He's like, well, just give me all that you have to prove it. And we're going to apply for a block grant, a chunk of money to help us align high school, middle school, and elementary. And because of that, I was able to give him the information. He said, okay, you look like you qualify. We're gonna get the grant. And for just my classroom, they gave us $50,000 to spend
why that's why you got freaking 8
in
machines.
year one. Yeah, yeah, in year one. Next year, I'm getting another 50,000. I'm like, I already bought all the junk I can possibly get. I guess I'm just gonna fill up the room with filament or something. I don't know.
Dude, that's awesome. Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do with the prints that you guys are making in the class? Like the kids take it home and they, it's
Oh,
theirs.
they take it home. They do whatever they're gonna do with them. I tell them if you're selling these, do not tell me about it. I don't want to hear it. It just don't tell anyone because you're gonna get in trouble here at school. So don't tell anyone. But
Heck
they
yeah,
take them
man.
home. They love these things. And I the first thing I tell every time they print something is like, look, the first thing you're gonna want to do is show this to your friends, and they're gonna break it. They want to find out how strong it is. That's always what they want to do is they want to, well, let's see how much I can bend this before it breaks. And sure enough, every time there's some kids like, oh, somebody broke it at lunch. I'm like, yeah, well, you were warned. But it happens. That is so strange. That's the first thing kids want to do is like, let's see how strong it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, have them print with TPU. That thing's hard to break.
Right, right.
I remember I tried to bend, like I 3D printed a, one of those flexi dragons in TPU, and I was like, well, if you want something that's gonna last a while, this
Yeah,
thing.
there it is. Hey, so other things that I got with that money is now we're going to be doing laser cutting. There's going to be animatronics and drones involved in the classroom. So
Wow.
all the
So
all the fun toys.
are you guys, so I saw this thing called Injecto. It's home, shoot. What is the term I'm looking for? It's in-home manufacturing for injection molding. Oh my god, I couldn't think about that. It's it's in-home injection molding, and they use
Uh,
3D printed parts for the mold.
oh, really?
Yeah, maybe that's something you can look into. I've looked at it and I was like, man, I would love one of these. I don't know what I'd use it for, but I'd love one of these.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's always the thing. It's like that looks cool. I need to order one.
Yeah. No, I mean, because you make a mold, right? And you can get, because when you said drones, that's what prompted me to think about it. Because this guy, he can now mass produce the propellers for his drones.
Uh,
So
nice.
he 3D printed the mold, and he puts it in the injecto machine, and then he'll, he won't crank it, but he'll press the button and it'll shoot plastic in there. And
Oh, that's pretty
it's
cool.
100% infill, obviously, because it has to fill the whole mold, right? But he
Yeah,
takes from the AMS, you got like the peanuts, right? Like he'll shred
yeah,
it
yeah.
in their own shredder thing, and then he'll put it in, and then poof, man. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Maybe that's
That's
something you guys
cool.
can look into.
Yeah, anything as long as there's no like chemicals or anything that requires some sort of filtration system, I
Yeah,
think the
so there's
district
no
would be open
filtration
to it.
system. There's no a pinching and heat, right?
Oh,
That's
okay.
all we have is pinching and heat, which is the same as a 3D printer.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
pinching and heat. So yeah, look into that, man.
yeah, definitely. Hey, one more thing that's changed
Absolutely. Keep
dramatically for
going,
me
dude.
because
I want to
because
know
it's
what's been going on with you.
so uh about 2 years ago, I was teaching the first class, and this one kid, he turns to me because I'm putting all my tutorials on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
But this kid, he turns to me in middle class. He says, "Mr. Amparo, I just subscribed to you. You're going to be a millionaire." And it dawned on me like, oh, that's right. People do get paid for ad through AdSense on YouTube.
Yeah, the
Well,
content, yes.
yeah, yeah. So at that point, I told the class, I'm like, look, class, let's try to make a YouTube channel that gets monetized. And so for the rest of that year, I would walk them through everything, say, look, this is what's happening. And of course, all of them said, just make something go viral. I'm like, look, that's not what I'm doing here. I'm just putting up tutorials. So the next year, I'm telling the class, hey, look, this is what we're doing. I'm putting up tutorials. I want you to see how the numbers are going. I want you to see the metrics and analyze what's going on. And this past May, we finally reached the required numbers to get AdSense. And so I've been updating the students as, hey, look, this is what it takes. It took over a year and about 100 videos, and this is how it breaks down. And so they're all excited. I've got street cred for miles now that I'm going to say, oh yeah, I'm a YouTuber. I got
Attaboy.
kids coming in. They're like, you're a YouTuber. I'm like, yeah, well, technically, yeah, I'm a YouTuber.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's what my kids say. My dad's famous, and I was like, sweetheart, can we not? Like, that's embarrassing.
Right, right.
That's awesome, man.
So the kids
So,
have been really enjoying that.
when did you get monetized for YouTube?
It's May 1st.
May 1st last year.
this past year. So what, 7, 8 months ago?
Okay, great. So since then, how's that going? Like, what's the monetization like for that?
Okay, so I started at about $30 a month. So if I earn $1 a day, that's, pretty average. I'm now at just under $80 a month.
Nice, dude. Okay.
And and what happened was I was doing the same thing over and over again, right? Just making videos, putting them up. And then something came across my Facebook page about optimizing your YouTube channel. I'm like, oh, let me read that. So over Thanksgiving break, I'm like, let me go ahead and read this and see what it's about. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I've been missing out on so many things because I never checked my which videos got the highest amount for advertising.
Hmm.
I never checked anything in terms of retention. I never checked any of that, and I never applied anything that would make it a little more interesting. I'm like, all of these things I could have done so easily. And since then, you can see my channel start growing and growing. I'm like, oh, well, had I paid attention before, it would have been great. But now I'm like enjoying the interaction between making a tweak and seeing the response by YouTube. It's been fun.
So what has been the biggest driver to increase video views for you? What is the one thing
Um,
someone can fix right now?
when I choose my designs, because I design things and I make tutorials based on those designs, I'm now choosing things that already have a market.
Okay.
So, for example, before I would say, okay, well, today I'm going to show you how to make a fish. Great, here are the steps. Now it's like, I'm going to show you how to design the flopper in Fortnite.
Mm,
So the flopper
gotcha.
is a fish. It's a certain type of fish with certain characteristics. But now YouTube is like, oh, he has the word flopper and Fortnite. I'm going to send that out to people that like Fortnite. And my students, as soon as they saw the tutorial, they're like, let's do that. I'm like, all right, let's go ahead and do that. So there's automatically an audience there. So that's a big jump right there, is that people automatically want the content versus before I was just putting up content.
That's awesome, dude. So create content that, by your definition, already has a market to it.
Yeah,
But create content based on an already existing audience.
yeah, yeah.
There you go. So
Makes sense, right?
yeah, dude, absolutely, 1,000,000%. So your design these, so you have YouTube now, right? So you have your job, which pays you very handsomely to do exactly what you love. You have
Yes.
your YouTube channel, which is growing very steadily. Um,
Uh-huh.
and uh, from last I checked, you also had did you start a Patreon? I'm pretty sure I saw one.
I did, and it did nothing.
Did nothing. Okay.
And and I was okay with that because I was experimenting because I was very focused on making religious items, like little things that would remind you about Bible verses or something like that.
Mhm.
And it had very little traction. In fact, it was hard for me to give them away on as an STL on cults.
Mm,
So I'm like, okay, they're not ready for that yet, but I'm still designing things and I'm going to store them up, and I'll try something different, but that didn't pan out. But the thing is, I've got a history of just trying things. I love trying digital stuff. Like I wrote an ebook about 4 or 5 years ago. I'm like, let's see if that works. And so I did it. I'm like, oh yeah, that was cool. Let's move on to something else. I one summer I designed an iPhone app. And I'm like, oh, okay, I did it. It's on, I can get it on my phone. Great. I did it. I'm going to move on with something else. I just love trying things. And so with Patreon, I'm like, all right, I'll try it. And I know if I kept on doing it, it would have some success. But here's what I didn't want. I didn't want somebody to subscribe at whatever price point, and now I have to be putting stuff up all the time. I'm like, I didn't want to be tied to that.
gotcha.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to set that aside. I'm still going to design things that I like, but I'm not going to make it a business just yet.
So at heart, you really are an educator. Like you just love teaching people and showing off and teaching them how to do things.
Oh, I love that. I just that's what I do. I'm sure some people hate that I do that when I'm just talking to them, but I'm like, dude, I will stop. Go ahead and tell me what you're doing. But I just love it.
Heck yeah, man. I mean, you're making an impact, right? You're making an impact with the kids. You're making an impact to whoever you're talking to, and you love it, and it's very visible. I can feel how much you love it, dude. And I don't think you should stop. I think you should keep going. I think you're doing great.
Mm,
Kudos to you, man.
thank you. Well, my younger son wants my job. He's actually going to school right now to be a teacher, but specifically my job. So I'm like, all right, I'll try to retire as soon as possible. But we'll see how. But the thing is, there's other schools that can have, you know, my certain position there. And the thing is, our district is looking for people that have my credential because it opens up so many possibilities. And so they're always looking for that. And I'm telling my son, as soon as you graduate, you got to take that test and get that
Heck yeah,
credential.
dude. I mean, now that California's changed that, right? It makes me wonder, like, well, why don't I do that? You know what I mean? Because Nico
Oh yeah, you should
Industries
definitely
essentially
try.
runs itself. I mean, I'm already teaching here. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I guess it's a question of, do I want to teach kids or do I want to teach adults? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that there is a difference. Yeah, yeah,
Massive. Oh boy, is there a massive difference. My kids are in
yeah.
middle
Because I
school
still
right
have
now, so
I have kids that don't want to be there. And so that can you imagine trying to teach someone that doesn't want to learn and doesn't want to be there? So it's like, okay, I get it. This is the ideal situation, but they're not in the headspace to be like, yeah, I want to learn this stuff. They're like, I'm here because I got kicked out from another class. I'm like, that's fine. Just don't break anything while you're here, and we're good.
yeah.
So yeah, it's whereas adults, they're usually paying to be there, and they have some invested interest in like, yes, I'm here.
So you're still teaching Tinkercad, right?
I am. And what's interesting is there's this one kid who had my class last year, and he he was like, okay, Mr. Amparo, can I use Blender to do that project? I'm like, you go ahead. You try Blender. And this guy, over the past like 4 or 5 months since school started, he's been getting really good at designing stuff in Blender. I'm like, man, I should have done the same thing.
I mean,
Because
I
all
know
he's
this
doing
guy who
is,
teaches Blender. There's this one dude.
yeah, he's a great guy,
Yeah.
right?
No, dude, Blender is just so Tinkercad has its limitations, man. Is just, dude, you can't manipulate the shape is my problem,
Yeah.
right? Say I get a
Mhm.
torus and I want the torus to have a, you know, a slope, right? I don't want it to be just a flat
Yeah.
torus. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Blender just allows to do that. It allows me to manipulate the mesh, and that's why I like it. And that kid who's doing Blender, dude, he's
Yeah.
on it, man. He knows he's on the right track because Tinkercad is great when you're starting off, and it's gotten
Yeah.
so much more powerful. Holy
Yes.
cow, it's so much more powerful now than when I first started 6 years ago. But at some point, you'll graduate from Tinkercad to Blender. Um, Nomad Sculpt is also fantastic. Maybe that's one thing you guys can buy with the 50,000 is get a few iPads, put Nomad Sculpt on there, and then teach that.
Yeah. I that's definitely a possibility because the things that this kid is coming up with, I'm like, dude, we could never do that in Tinkercad. So and I told him, I said, you know, if you wanted to, you could actually start designing your own things. And I have like 3 students so far. I said, hey, because there was 3 girls and this one guy, I was like, hey, if you wanted to, you can start your own little store that you could sell these designs and print stuff. Like you, if you want to do that, I will walk you through the process. And so I'm just waiting for them to say yes. But that they have developed a skill that's like, okay, you have this ability. So why not take advantage now that you're at middle school?
And these
And
kids,
can you imagine?
they're so far ahead of their peers, dude. You got
Yeah,
some kids that are just dicking around in middle school, and they're gonna dick around through high school, and then they're gonna graduate. They're gonna be
yeah,
like, "Holy shit, I partied too much." And then these kids that were in your class that was starting to design, was starting to do all these things, in your class, they're gonna be 10 years ahead. Like they can be 22 years old and they have 10 years of experience in design.
and maybe self-sufficient.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when they graduate, they'd be like, I'm going to choose to go to college, or I'm going to choose to keep on doing what I'm doing, and maybe even buy a house with the current income I have, because it's completely possible, especially if you start, in middle school. It's completely possible.
Yeah. Dude, my son made $60 in a day selling $5 items. Yeah.
Wow.
So he he jumped into my toy box and he just
Uh-huh.
got a whole bunch of stuff. And I guess they had this trade thing, this trade exercise in their history class. And they were talking about
Uh-huh.
economy and trade. And they were trading things, but he got a whole bunch. He got like a whole plastic bag full of stuff. This boy comes home with like two or three left with like $60 in cash. And I was like, I can't
Like,
even be mad. I'm
okay.
so proud of you.
It was like, there you go. Now make your own.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's like, all right, man, go get on Tinkercad and design. And so actually, story time is my son went on Tinkercad
Uh-huh.
and he doesn't, I'm his dad. So he's like, why am I going to listen to you? I'm not going to take your courses, right?
Right.
And,
Right.
and so he goes on Tinkercad and he starts designing these flexi toys all on his own without me having taught him anything.
Wow.
Yeah, I was
That's
like,
great.
yeah, that's what I said. I was like, dude, can you like pursue this, please? He goes, no, I'm gonna go play Roblox. And I was like, you suck.
Maybe he saw one of my videos.
Maybe,
I think that was it.
maybe. I mean, dude, if he's gonna
Maybe.
watch somebody on YouTube, I'd have him watch you, man.
There you go. Let's keep on advertising that. I
Yeah,
can
man.
retire early.
Heck, heck yeah. So, so we talked about Patreon. We talked about the job. We talked about new stuff. You got grants. You got another grant coming this year. Congratulations. Um, what else, man? What else is going on for you? What else has happened in the past year and a half?
Um, Honestly, that's about it. We did get a raise. I'm sure that's nice, but honestly, my all I'm doing is teaching and loving it. With how I said I have an extra 50,000 coming in. Somebody from the district, I called them up and said, "Hey, help me out with this, because I already have money coming from different areas," which I know is rare for teachers to say, but they said, "Have you considered redesigning the computer lab to make it look like a gaming room?"
Ooh,
I'm like, that sounds really cool. Now, the thing is, I don't know if it's going to be 50,000 to redesign everything, but maybe that's something we're going to be doing, because wouldn't that be cool to be like, yeah, our school has a gaming room, our middle school has a gaming room. So we're considering that, and I'm like, do I really want to, put all that in there, or do I want to go in other directions? But that would be an amazing thing to be like, yes, our school has drones, animatronics, a gaming room, laser cutters, 3D printers, and be like, wow, that'd be like the ultimate right there. Be like, yep, here we go.
okay, dude. I
So
think
that's
I think
something
I'm
that
gonna do
I
that.
have to
I think I'm
decide.
gonna pursue something like that. Just open up like a facility with 3D printers, game room. Just let make it a cool place to hang out and learn stuff, man.
Yeah, and I it's just amazing that we can do this, and it's like, hey, you have the option to do that at school. Not somewhere else, at school. And to have that option is just amazing.
Heck yeah, man. Dude, I'm so proud of what you've been able to accomplish in the year and a half. You got $50,000 grants. You have, you get your raise. Obviously, that always comes every year. You have kids that are now
Nice.
designing. I mean, money aside, right? I know this is a business podcast, but money aside, the impact that you're doing is far beyond anything that I've ever done. And you're impacting kids'
Oh,
lives,
thank you.
man. You're setting people
Thank
up
you.
to become successful. And dude, kudos to you, brother. Kudos to you.
Thank you. I understand how privileged I am, but at this point, I'm starting to get substitute teachers come in and say, "Hey, you were my teacher."
No
I'm like,
kidding.
what? Yeah, I'm like, no way. Am I that old? But apparently I am. I am that old.
Holy
And
cow.
I'm like, okay, great. What? They're like, yeah, back when I was in fifth grade. I'm like, oh, fifth grade, and now you're teaching and substituting. I'm like, okay, I can see it.
That
Yeah.
feels good and hurt at the same time.
Yeah. I've been doing this for 25 years. 25 years.
Dang, dude.
It's a while.
Cool. Well, Adrian, man, I appreciate you coming on board. Thank you for being here. It's nice to reconnect, see what you're doing. Definitely gonna message you again, maybe in another year or so, and we'll figure it out. We'll check on that YouTube channel. Make sure you send me the link. We're gonna link that in the description below so they can learn how to design a Tinkercad if they're a beginner. Always a great place to be. So if you guys want to learn design or anything like that from Tinkercad, if you guys are starting off, this is the man to follow. His link's going to be down there in the description. Again,
All right. Thank you.
peace in the Middle East. You guys, Adrian, thanks for being here. I'll catch you later, man.
All right. Thank you.